It's weapon day. Let's go ahead and get that up to 20 and just pray it also doesn't need fangs. It doesn't. It needs the whistles, which I have some of at least. These masks aren't open today. Can we get 2 greens from anywhere? We're gonna grab this, I guess. I probably should have just checked if we have a bunch of blues and purples for some reason before buying that, but I guess we'll see here in a second. There's level 40 and... Hey, we actually can get it up to the next star. Okay, very cool. Second star, level 50. All right, let's just go here and see if it's even possible. Nope, not even a little bit. I'm not sure why I'm surprised. We are so far away. We have to wait until tomorrow. How are we doing on elite drops though? We don't need the smallest anymore, so we can go ahead and make those with sucrose and get at least 5 bonus. I think somehow we're actually good on elite. Never mind. 15 more purples is probably like 1 adventure handbook run. And I think we are good with the whistles. Okay, so no small enemy drops. That's pretty cool. Any purples? No. No. Yes. No. Yeah. Done already? Okay, we'll see if that was enough. Still need 9 more. I think we had bad luck because elites generally just drop a lot more these days. If we have bad luck again and still don't have enough, we'll just pop out the interactive map. So I decided to do the rest of the farming off camera. There really wasn't much to see anyway. So we can go ahead and max it. There's the 3rd star, 60, 4th star, 70, 5th star, 80, last star, and 90. The base stats on the Starcaller's watch is the total opposite of last weapon, with the lowest base attack possible and the highest secondary stat. In this case, Elemental Mastery. Taking a look at the passive, we get 100 Elemental Mastery, period. It effectively makes this weapon the highest Elemental Mastery weapon in the game. Even taking into account completely mono teams with 1,000 Floating Dreams only gives you 96 bonus from the passive, so yeah, that's pretty cool to start with, and there's like literally no requirements here. It's just a 365 Elemental Mastery weapon. The other part of the passive, sadly, is a lot more niche. Basically, after the equipping character makes a shield, the active character gains a 28% damage bonus. What I am happy about though is that this is a buff triggered by the creation of a shield and not while you have the shield. So even very weak shields, like from Baizhu, can, keep the buff very consistently. The passive is pretty simple, but there is still one question I have. Does Crystallize count? And if so, how? First, we have to know when the buff is active. So we're gonna do E there and try and look for any sort of sign. I'm actually not sure which effects are coming from the shield itself and which ones are coming from the buff. So we'll get the mentioned Baizhu in there and just do his burst. This will create a new shield every 2.5 seconds. I actually don't think there's any indication. I really don't want to rely on the default aura of buff, the up arrows and the lines, so we're going to just brute force it. We'll use Benny as our test subject here. We'll just look at non-crits. He does 664 with a non-crit. I've already looked at it several times. Just pressing Citlali's E should not give us any sort of physical damage bonus. So we're just going to look at that now. We are now getting an 850. So we know the expected damage increase. Let's give it to Baizhu. Make sure nothing has changed. We're still getting 664. Baizhu burst, 850. Okay, so I mean, that definitely counts. Let's see how long we'll actually have the buff though. Still getting 850s. So Baizhu shield is gone, but we still, I think, have the buff. No, we don't anymore. Oh man, that is so unfortunate. His burst lasts 14 seconds, which is the same exact time as the cooldown for this effect. If his burst just lasted 1 second longer. So for the thing I wanted to test, does Crystallize count? It says the equipping character has to create a shield. I'm pretty sure Ningguang is the only Catalyst user that could do that. So it might be interesting to try her. We have Georesonance now, we gotta be careful. I'm going to just replace Xeonin. I don't think she was impacting the damage at all, but as real scientists around here, we're going to make sure. 664, okay. I'm going to do his E, so we're just going to do a little normal attack there. We have created a Crystallize Shield. I assume the damage will still be the same at this point. Yes, that's the critical number of the 664. But we just got the shield. It's still 664, damn. The only other thing is, what if Ningguang picks up the Crystallize Shard? That might work actually, we'll see. Boom, there we go. Oh, I did just see the symbol pop up there. That's even better, and we are getting the 850. Unless they have to be the one responsible for spawning it and picking it up. That's what we did with Ningguang here. But if the Catalyst user just has to pick it up, anyone can do that as long as you have a Geo in your team. Let's just try Barbara. And we can even put Xeonin back in. So we're actually just going to do like Xeonin's burst, for example. There's the Crystallize there. We're gonna go ahead and pick it up, but it's 664, there was the non-crit. That's the non-buffed number. So that really means they have to create the Crystallize and pick it up. I was thinking it would be one or the other, but not both. Okay, but what if Barbara is just part of the reaction? So we have the Hydro there. We're just going to press her E, try not to pick that up. We will pick it up with Barbara. Boom. Still 664, damn it. And for those that aren't aware, like Animo, you can't put Geo on an enemy. So Barbara cannot trigger Crystallize. It's literally impossible. I spent half an hour looking for these Geo slimes just so I could actually say literally. Although I wouldn't be surprised if there is some weird ass way to make Crystallize with Barbara. Yeah, I'm trying on the Geo Cube. Okay, one last thing. What if Barbara is just on field when Crystallize happens? Will that count then? Probably not. We'll throw Zhongli Pillar over there. All right, come on, Masanori, yes. Okay, we got Crystallize. And there's the shield. Can you not critical once, please? It's 730. That's just tenacity buff. It should be 850 if we had the shield buff, which we don't. So yeah, just forget it, man. This took way longer than it should have. So besides the couple of catalyst users that can naturally make shields, it's only gonna be Ningguang that can fully use the passive. Until there's like an artifact set that provides a shield somehow, maybe, then the possibilities would open up. Speaking of future things, Yanlan. I can't show much, basically just what was in the special program and, you know, her basic mechanics. But Yanlan is an Animo Catalyst user that creates a shield on skill cast. To me, she also feels more like a Viridescent holding support, and Animos in general almost always want a lot of EM, which again, this weapon has an abundance of. So I would not be surprised it's going to be great for her, especially because 4 stars don't really have a signature like the 5 stars do. But yeah, I don't know much about Yanlan, so I'm just going to leave it there as a sort of thought, like a probably. Besides that, we do got at least one interesting edge case with Yanfei here, but only if you have her C4. She does create a shield then. I'm really not sure it's that interesting for Yanfei though. She is what I consider a main DPS, and while the high EM would be good for Vaporize or Melt, she is a pure attack scaler, so the super low base attack might hurt a little bit, especially because, you know, she is a 4-star that doesn't have Gaming-esque base attack. I mainly mention her because, yeah, she's one of the few Catalyst users that can naturally give herself a shield. Baizhu, on the other hand, is not only very much more support focused, but he doesn't care that it has low base attack because he scales with HP. Of course, depending on the team, EM might not be that useful. If he is triggering some, you know, Dendro reactions in a Dendro reaction team, then it still could be very good, of course. The main unfortunate thing is that the cooldown of getting this buff is the exact same duration as his ultimate, which is the only way he actually gets shields. So there's definitely some downtime. I still think though, because of his A4, it's probably more important to still try and get to 50k. And even with a no HP weapon, we are still sitting at 44.3. So depending on the team, like Double Hydro Bloom, I think we'd be closer to 50k. We'll check real quick. 47.6. Pretty close. On the other hand, this damage bonus on the weapon is actually kind of useless in a Bloom team, so I really don't got much to work with here, man. The first character that came to mind was, of course, Nahida. She can't create shields, so we're not getting this 28% increased damage, but outside of spread and aggravate, it doesn't really matter anyway, and it literally gives her more EM than her signature. It's actually quite a bit more considering in most Nahida teams, she's the only Dendro, maybe paired with one other Dendro. So if we ignore the other part of the passive and just call it a massive EM stat stick, it honestly becomes more interesting. A good chunk of Catalyst users like EM. I mean, Mulaney definitely I think still prefers her signature, but as an HP scaler, she doesn't care about the low base, and her vaporizers can go insanely hard, especially with this big EM buff. I also know max EM Kokomi is a thing for triggering reactions, something I've only used once, I think, if that, so I'm not going to talk on that too much. Sucrose obviously as well. Her A4 passive doesn't even have a cap on it. It's just 20% of her EM goes to the team. So higher you can get her EM, the better that buff will be. I don't think there are any more obvious ones to mention. Even max EM Kokomi was already a bit of a, not really stretch, but like, I'd say a good chunk of people don't use her like that. But yeah, I'd say the most interesting general use case would be Nahida and Sucrose. They both favor having a lot of EM, and this weapon gives the most in the game. I still think if you have Nahida's signature, that's still better because she gets 20 to 30 element bonus and she gives 40 EM to the whole team. Also, reaching 1000 EM with her signature shouldn't be hard anyway. Sucrose though, yeah, not really having a signature weapon, I feel like could be very interesting. But yeah, as I sometimes forget to mention at the end of these videos, I would never pull this weapon specifically for Sucrose or Nahida or anyone. Maybe not even for Citlali herself, because we do have a lot of good options. I've mainly been using her in sac frags, and that's been going actually really well. I enjoy doing the double E cast most of the time, makes her energy requirements a lot lower, and it still has very solid EM. These videos are more so just to explore potential candidates of the weapon if you had accidentally pulled it, for example, while going for a different one, but had no plans of getting Citlali in this case. But yeah, that'll do it. I'm gonna go get milk. See ya.